Hello, you beautiful baby. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for clicking this video. I really appreciate it. Welcome back or welcome. Hey girl, hey, it's your girl Tyra. Over here, I basically just tell you all my business, whether I'm vlogging, reading out of my journal, or just sitting down talking to you. You never know. You may have clicked on a video that's about drama or me doing a reaction. Whatever made you click, I'm so glad you did. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hi everyone, I hope everyone's having a great Monday. It's about 7 p.m. and I'm hoping that I can get this out. I'm not going to do much editing to this. I am going to just do my best to, not have to edit it. And it might be a little slower than usual. There might be, definitely some silent moments that you normally wouldn't hear, but that's okay. Go ahead and speed this up on 2 time, and then you can listen to me all you want. Does that mess with my watch time? Absolutely. But truly all I care about is that you actually hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. I want to talk about B2U being First Sock Evah. And, the fact that it was presented 2 days ago as fact, but yesterday on another panel, the same person who was up on the first panel decided to finally call it a conspiracy, finally call it an opinion. That's the problem, right? That's the problem, is you cannot present conspiracies as fact. I love a good conspiracy. I'm a conspiracy kind of person. I've never shown anything and told anybody what they were looking at. And that is gaslighting. You are showing people all the things in which you consider, proofs to your conspiracy, whilst telling everybody that this is the proof that, B2U is and has been doing dirty things. Not to mention, she hasn't only been doing dirty things, but she's messing with the pigs, right? Like, she's talking to the pigs. B2U has been around for at least 5 years. I don't know what she was doing before I met her, but she has been around to me probably from jump. I mean, she found me very early on. She was, the first person to send me a postcard. She, I wanted postcards from around the world, from all my subscribers, right? And I wanted to put them on my backdrop so when I filmed, you guys could see them. She went and got me a postcard, like, she has been so good to me. She has definitely gone above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to being my friend. She's a great friend. She's a great confidant. She's a great person. She's, the voice of reason. She's definitely wiser. She's extremely intelligent. And I think to even think that she's capable of what I'm assuming would be, her being abused by other people and being, tortured on a daily basis for months and months, you know what I'm saying? I will not and cannot believe that would even cause her to get some kind of revenge where she would create this account and, hurt people in the process. B2U is also somebody who probably, if I asked her, send me all the DMs of people who tried to sway you from being my friend, right? To convince you that Tyra is such a bad person. She could probably give me 20 DMs from people, and she never turned. She never talked badly behind me. She's always been very open about her opinions of decisions that I've made here on YouTube. Obviously, decisions I make in real life, we talk about in private. But like in YouTube, she's always been very public about, being disappointed in, ways that I have behaved and things. But like the fact that she is one of my dearest friends from YouTube, she has watched everything the pig pen has put me through, and it hurt her just as much as it hurt me. And it's something that I think for any friend, like I can't imagine being my friend because I'm such a good friend. I feel very sorry for my friends, for all of my friends, for having to go through that with me, for having to hear those things, for having to know that things were said or done. And, there's nothing any of them can do to really help me, right? Everyone's in a different state. And there's nothing that they can do except for be there for me. And they all have been. I'm not saying they haven't. But you know what I'm saying? I'm sure it's been very difficult for all my friends. But for BB especially, she cares about my sister. She cares about my children. You know what I'm saying? She was very, and always has been, very in tune, because I've allowed her in tune with my real life all the way back to Florida. You know what I mean? She's been somebody that I look up to, I'm so sorry. Oh gosh, the yawning, that I strive to be when I grow up, and just a better human. She's such a good human. And that's probably the biggest problem, right? Is everybody in our community, we're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. This is, somebody that we all enjoy and we all look up to, and, we all really think is a great person. And then we got these, this group of women who are presenting these things as facts. That's gaslighting. It was extremely difficult even for me, because I am such a conspiracy girl and I love a good conspiracy. It was extremely difficult for me to be in the audience, even for them 15 minutes that I was in chat and actually listening to the words coming out of the ladies' mouths. It's extremely difficult to be in that chat and not to believe it, because it really does, connect, like the dots connect, right? And then it's just kind of confirmed by Shelly's comment. But unfortunately, in that same comment, not only did she lie about, BB being this other sock account, but it's also, she lied about how B, gave me this information or that information. Like the entire comment was just one big old lie. I also know that that the pig, he mentioned her a couple days ago, and for some reason he was like sticking up for her, or whatever it is he like calls it, right? Which he totally does on purpose. He does that to make our friend group, and also the friend group with the ladies, right, think that someone is doing shady things within their friend group. But the thing is, she actually told me, I know that this is, going to be her leaking, right? Like what she said in the group chat. But, she told me she had said something in the group chat because she had heard about it before, she was like going in her appointment or something. And she had said in the group chat, oh my gosh, he just put a target on my head. Imagine what people are going to think now that he wants to, stand up for me. And it's just crazy how the very next day, they have all this information and they're ready to deliver this conspiracy. And of course, now they're really connecting dots and they're able to say, oh my goodness, we really think that BTU has, been in contact with the pigs. It's just not a thing. It's not a thing because of what the pig has done to me alone, she wouldn't be able to even like fathom the thought, let alone what he's done to her, what his friends have done to her, what his friends and him have done to her other friends. It's not a thing. And I encourage everybody to use their brains, right? And to think for themselves. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's easy to get wrapped up in said conspiracies and, group with your friends and just decide that that's what you're going to do. I definitely reminded BB that she owes nobody nothing and she doesn't have to talk about it. But don't mistake her silence for any kind of guilt, because that's certainly not the truth. I'm sure one day she'll want to address it and she'll want to talk about it. And I'm also sure that if she has taken the time to watch it for herself, if she has taken the time to watch the chat, I'm sure she's seen a lot of people that she probably thought, knew her better than that, right? Who probably was down there believing it and was down there, unfortunately, being gaslit. Let's just call it what it is. Even in the chat, I had Selfie Queen Cindy telling me, like, oh, look this is proof of da-di-da-di-da. It's not proof, and that's why Bliss Chris had to go to her panel the next day and say, no, I gave it as an opinion. No, you wanted Justan to hypothetically give you, some kind of explanation as if, this were, in fact, facts and truth. And that's all part of gaslighting. And nobody is ever going to convince me that BB is behind that account. I don't think she could. I don't think she has it in her. I know how much I don't fool with sock accounts, how much I really don't mess with sock accounts and don't have sock accounts and don't torture people and be mean and do mean things and all the things. It's like, if I am able to do that, imagine how well BB is able to do that. She is a much better human than I. And like, I don't even participate in stuff like that. Yeah, I've been here 5 years. I know I have a whole hate community. I know a lot of things have been said and shown and done and all the things, right? But it does not make those things true. And everyone is allowed a right to their own opinion. You shouldn't be told what you're supposed to think. You shouldn't be told this is true and, this is how you're supposed to think because this is how we think. That's certainly not how, like, our community gets down. You know what I'm saying? I know that it's been said recently that people are not allowed to talk to other people and shit. Like, that's not even a thing. Like, stay away from the pig pen or don't. That's just it's really that simple, I think, for everybody in this community. Nobody co-signs anyone being over by the pig pen or any of their members. Like, no one's going to co-sign that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And people are probably going to warn you. They're going to say the things that they think you should know if you're newer around here or whatever the case may be. And there's nothing wrong with, letting people know, like, man, them are bad people, But it was very much the setup for me and how sorry they are for all of us. And I don't understand what there is to be sorry for. What is there to be sorry for? You guys are not showing me or proving anything to me. What is there to be sorry for? And why wasn't I contacted when I was contacted for something else only the day before? Why wasn't Terry Lynn contacted? Why wasn't Wildflower Tea contacted? Since our names were brought up, why weren't we contacted then? Why weren't we told about the conspiracy? Why weren't we given any kind of grace since, they're going to feel so sorry for us? And then we're not going to forget the gaslighting that happened with Terry Lynn. unfortunately, she got in her feelings when she was, supposed to just be making sure that she stands on what we thought she believed, right? And she was being gaslit to death and coddled and, oh, you poor baby. And, I think she fell into it, and it looked a certain kind of way. And, I've told Terry Lynn to her face. But there was just a lot of gaslighting going on, and I just don't think there's any reason for any of it. Like, you can say, this is our conspiracy. These are the dots we connected. Make, your own decisions based on what we've presented to you. And also, I just don't want anyone to mistake her silence for guilt, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who's telling her, take a fucking break off of the YouTubes. You know what I'm saying? Don't fucking jump on there and defend lies. She knows it's a lie. She knows how I defended lies for many years in the beginning, because everything coming out of Steph TXMA's mouth was lies. They were just her conspiracies. She showed what she thought was good proof, but it wasn't proof of anything. I know what it's like to be accused of being sock accounts. Like, I was accused of actually talking to myself in my comment sections. That's weird, and I don't want to look weird to nobody. So when people believed that, it was hard to unsee them believing that. And I'm sure that BB feels pretty hurt, pretty betrayed by people, and it's hard not to feel that way. And I know many people wouldn't, want her to feel that way, but unfortunately, it is how you feel when you go through something like that. And this is the first time, she's ever been accused of doing something that, she hasn't done, and it's just absolutely terrible, right? Because that account was terrible. I just really wanted to come on here quickly and reiterate how I feel about everything BTU and First Sock Evah. That is definitely something that I just can't even imagine BB making that name. Okay, like, it's really that so far-fetched that, like, even the name is just not something that, like, BB would even think to come up with. She just does not talk like that. And I also know that Shelly likes to copy me when I say, I'm a real YouTuber or whatever. So I feel like if anyone is going to, use that Evah like that on anything, it's going to be Shelly. And if she's going to admit to being karma trained, she was probably First Sock Evah. I was unable to see any of the content over there. The only thing I've seen on that account is what was shown in Popcorn Stream. So I have no idea what they were up to. I have no idea, and I don't have any opinions on why that account is not her, because this or that or the other was on that account, because I didn't get to see it. Whomever was running that account deleted it during the live stream. And because I know where BB was during this live stream, I also know she wasn't capable of deleting that account. And that's just the reality. That's just facts. So whomever had that account up felt like they needed to get it down, and people were really looking into it. And of course, allegedly my motherfucking conspiracy, it's Shelly. Shelly knew, that she was lying and talking when she talked to BB about how she gave Tyra a bunch of things. I've never told Shelly that BB gave me anything. So why are you saying that in a public comment? And then you accuse her of being this sock account while you admit to being another sock account. And she wasn't that sock account either. BB didn't think nothing of it when Shelly lied to her. I said, what did you think when she accused you of being this sock account? She's like, well, Shelly lies to me all the time about me. She's like, Shelly has no problem making these fucking lying ass comments publicly. So she didn't think anything of it. And it's so far-fetched to her, it is difficult to see people even buying it for even that 1 second. You know what I'm saying? So she's going to take her time. She's going to take her time, and I'm going to continue to encourage that because it's pretty shady. It's just all real shady, and I wish that, you know, maybe it was presented differently from jump, and then it could have been a very simple, this is what we think. These are the dots we connected. We believe this to be true. And now it's on you guys what you choose to believe with the information we provided. And that's not what happened. You know, in fact, it wasn't even cleared up that it was an opinion or a conspiracy until the next day. And that's just not cool. And then, you know, coddling Terry Lynn, pretending like you tried to get a hold of me, knowing that, you know, nobody got a hold of any of us to even tell us any of these things. And I don't understand why it was so hyped up as if it was so terrible that we would literally like feel betrayed in some way. No, I mean, that would totally just mean our friend went off the deep end, and I would feel terrible that I wasn't there supporting her better, you know, when she went off this deep end. I would forgive her. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against any of those ladies. I don't have any beef with any of those ladies. I just wish that they would have handled it differently. They could have handled it way better, in my opinion, and that's just how I feel about it, you know. I will continue to strive for peace when it comes to, you know, every one of us over here, and, you know, making sure that, you know, we can try to keep things peaceful because we all share subscribers, you know. And you know, I want things to get better in 2025. I really do. But I'm going to get off of here. I think I've talked enough. I think I've said exactly everything I need to say. And I just want everyone to, you know, use your own minds. And please don't feel pressured into believing something that you almost know in your gut is not true either. You know what I mean? And I hope you guys have a great day. Peace out, Girl Scout. Thanks again for coming. I hope you have a great day or night wherever it is you are. And I'll see you in the next one.